I didn't do anything to your great-great-great-grandfather. I don't want to be responsible for that.
What a completely normal sentence to say out loud to another human being. It's AO, and today I wanted to look into the way right-wing media fights empathy. I like empathy. It's about seeing what others are going through. Emphasis on seeing because there's a difference between seeing and looking. Like, look at these trees. Cool trees. I know. But those aren't just trees. Owl, frog, gecko. You can spot the owl by its feathers, the frog by its legs, and the gecko by its eyes or toes. Now you can see the details as well, because another person shared what they've seen. And that's exactly what empathy does. It allows us to connect to struggles, familiar or not, and to try and understand them. Shockingly and definitely unheard of in this capitalistic system, a lot of bad people make a lot of money off of other struggles. And so, over the years, an entire industry have developed to combat empathy. And that industry? Alberta conservative media. Conservative media worldwide is hyper-focused on putting a cynical twist on every empathy-inducing story. Workers who suffer are lazy, women who were sexually assaulted are crazy, and kids who were murdered had it coming. But how did we get here? You see, while this type of shit happens every once in a while, the latest cycle of doom got its major push from the 1975 report by the Trilateral Commission titled The Crisis of Democracy. This bipartisan piece of buffoonery followed the Vietnam War era and rose from the claim that during the war, the media partook in adversary culture, undermining the brave conquest and effectively losing the war for the country, and thus harming the cause of democracy and freedom. The study concludes that the media have become a notable new source of national power that contributes to the reduction of governmental authority at home and a consequent decline in the influence of democracy abroad. The study, therefore, urged more moderation in democracy. Moderation in democracy.
That just sounds like
Fascism
with extra steps!
Chomski notes that the idea behind their study is that the general public must be reduced to its traditional apathy and obedience and driven from the arena of political debate and action if democracy is to survive. I think it's very easy to see that they use the word democracy but don't wish to live in one. Chomsky also puts apathy and obedience together here, and I think that it's a key duo in this entire scheme. The pairing is natural. You get people to abide with your wrongdoings by making them apathic towards your victims. Now, guess which big American party rushed to legitimize this gigantic self-report by the Trilateral Commission? The Get Carter Boy Girl or NB. You see, it has been observed by critics that many members of the Trilateral Commission subsequently had roles in the Carter administration and have been influenced by the report. In fact, not only did Carter like the Commission's work and employed many of its members, he actually became a member himself in 1973. Makes you wonder, what on earth would the least bopping Carter in US history not want the media to talk about? Surely nothing. Carter giving power to these people greatly affected the perception and operation of the media in the United States ever since. It has to do with limiting the spectrum of what we deem discussable, and it will be the focus of my next video. For now, I'd like to discuss another side effect legitimizing the report and spreading its propaganda had, which is the ways that Republicans weaponize some of its sentiments against the Democrats in the 80s elections and ever since. A lot of S's in that sentence. You see, the Commission echoed the term special interests, coined by liberal elites, referring to the needs of workers, farmers, women, youth, the elderly, the handicapped, ethnic minorities, LGBT, etc. Basically the needs of the general population, including the needs of every group other than corporation, financial institutions, and other business elite. Those other interests were referred to as the national interest. In the presidential campaigns of the 80s, Republicans accused Democrats of being the instrument of said special interest and thus an opponent of the national interest. These accusations were just as bullshit then as they are nowadays, as the Dems represented and still represent the interest of the same corporate elite that the Reps do. Still, those accusations by the Republican Party were enough to give the entire world 8 years of Ronald Reagan. Furthermore, as the method proved successful, it has been implemented further and further over the years. It worked for Reagan and it worked for Trump. Thus, thanks to a poo-poo paper, we entered a roaring spiral of bullshit, where every time an interest of the general population is raised, conservatives lose their shit. Irony is when a report titled The Crisis of Democracy eventually leads to I bet the liberals that came up with these special and national interest terms to silently control the population feel bamboozled as they see the conservatives achieve success by being loud as fuck about it. That is, being loud as fuck in opposing the interests of the general population. Look at the way Fox News portrayed AOC to their viewers. This isn't supposed to be flattering, it's supposed to be very scary, and to their viewers, whom the vast majority would very much enjoy basically every item on this list, it somehow is very scary. Empathy is so scary to them that they have to live in denial to the fact that oftentimes they are on the receiving end of it, thus denying themselves the opportunity to have better lives. This reminds me of the education segment of the Black Panther's What We Want, What We Believe 10-point program, where it says that if a man does not have knowledge of himself and his position in society and the world, then he has little chance to relate to anything else. This quote does a great job explaining the game played by Fox News and other conservative media outlets. After all, as we just saw, the vast majority of their viewers live in denial to their place in society and in the world. So, the Panther quote in mind, it isn't surprising that the same conservative viewing communities give birth to some of the nastiest incel and Nazi cultures in the world. Anyways, with every loss of shit, the more ridiculous it becomes to see. Every single small attempt at expressing empathy towards whatever community it may be results in a call for panic. Maybe other than billionaires, you're allowed to be empathic to billionaires. Makes plenty sense. And so, a few months ago, millions of people tuned in live to watch a grown man panic about a potato toy. A potato toy. Empathy scares these people. Trans people, at this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within our bathrooms? And so, being spooked, shook and misguided away from empathy leads people to be clueless, both about the world they live in and about their place in it. This, in order, leads to some hilarious and annoying displays of ignorance, as they look and never see. Be empathic. Thank you for watching.